The other day, I did a topic about baseball, about the MLB specifically, kind of how I saw the MLB lockout so far. And I invited feedback. I wanted people to write into the show, let me know how you feel, and not only share your thoughts, but educate me a little bit, because I was very open about, hey, I don't know everything about this topic. I don't follow baseball that closely anymore. And I learned a lot. In fact, I even learned a new word. The word is arbitration. We will get into that in a moment. And, it sent me down a rabbit hole. I was reading a bunch. I felt kind of like an MLB conspiracy theorist. I just went down the rabbit hole. I'm like, oh my God, realizing all this horrible stuff about the league. And honestly, everything I read made me hate Major League Baseball even more. Again, it's a beautiful, wonderful, incredible sport. I love the sport of baseball. The league drives me nuts. MLB owners are cheap and stingy, and they use, frankly, dirty tricks to avoid paying players. It's shameful. It's awful. Let's start with this. You cannot become a free agent in Major League Baseball until you have accrued 6 years of service time. Now, that's not just having 6 years in the league. It's actually, because that would be too easy, right? Oh, you're in the NFL for 6 years? You've been in the league for 6 years. No. In baseball, it's a little bit different. In Major League Baseball, they're like, hey, if you're in the league for 6 years, you may not actually have 6 years of service time. How do you get even 1 year of service time in Major League Baseball? You need to be on an active roster for 172 days. That counts as 1 year. By the way, the regular season is 187 days, and so often what you will see is, teams will hold a player in the minor league system for a little bit, making their timeline of their clock stretch out even longer by about even a year. So after 6 years of, quote, service, you can finally become a free agent. Now, the way that teams screw that timeline, Major League Baseball is used like a trap, and players do not get called up because owners don't want to pay them. These billionaire owners who don't understand the value in a baseball player, which is their best commodity as a franchise, they will keep players in the minors to make their clock and service time stretch out even longer. Again, like I said, like a year even. And the guys getting screwed the most right now in Major League Baseball are not the guys at the top getting a ton of money, guys like Bryce Harper or Mike Trout. The guys getting screwed right now in Major League Baseball are the role players or the young guys in the league. So minor leaguers are getting paid basically nothing, like literally less than minimum wage. And even younger star players can take forever before they really actually get paid market value, before they get a big contract. Guys like Juan Soto or Pete Alonso, who haven't accrued that 6 years of service required, even though they're massive stars. Juan Soto is my personal favorite baseball player. I love his approach. I love his batting style, everything. Here is how that works, by the way. It's a process called arbitration. I learned a lot about it. If you have accrued at least 3 years of service but haven't yet reached the coveted 6 years of service to the Major League Baseball system, you are subject to an ugly, awful system called arbitration, where players have to literally beg for their salary. And here's the worst part. Teams are actively trying to prove to a mediator or an arbitration panel why a player is worth less than they are asking for. They are completely lowballing players constantly and literally lawyering up to explain why, he's actually not worth what he's asking, blah, 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 stats, numbers, throwing all this stuff at the board. Can you imagine having lawyers coming after your salary? That's awful. Juan Soto deserves to be paid. People like that, people who are stars in the league who are early on in their career. And because it takes so long for a star player to become a free agent, they are often massively underpaid during some of the best prime years of their career. Now, I used the phrase in my last topic, millionaires versus billionaires. People did not like that phrase. Remember, I am neither a millionaire nor obviously I'm not a billionaire. The league minimum is $600,000 in the Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball, as if it's like the Ohio State. In Major League Baseball, you make $600,000 as the league minimum. Now, $600,000 to play baseball sounds amazing to me. Anyone want to pay me $600,000 to play a kid's game? I am all in. That sounds great. Here's the thing, though. And now, I will say, baseball does not wreck your body as bad as a sport like football, for example. But if you make 3 years, $600,000. That's a good hefty sum of money. It's a lot of money, but you're not set for life. And what I think is really annoying here is you have these billionaire owners just flat out refusing to pay their most important asset, their players. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. And the more I learn about the MLB, the less I like it. For example, I learned about the luxury tax, which it's not a salary cap. You can spend beyond the luxury tax amount. You just got to pay a tax or a fee to spend more than that amount of money. What that really does, if I didn't explain it very well, it means that if you spend beyond a certain amount of money, you got to pay even more money, which, again, what that really does is means that the teams at the bottom that have less revenue cannot spend more than the luxury tax, and the really rich teams don't even care. Like, sure, we'll waste bucket loads of money and go beyond the luxury tax, and all it really does is make the divide between rich teams and poor teams even worse and even greater. And oh man, I learned a lot. I don't talk about baseball that often for obvious reason. I don't love the league, but the league refuses to change. They refuse to empower their players. They refuse to allow personality, bat flips, and celebrations. And arbitration is horrible. The lack of a salary cap is so infuriating. Oh, let's have a luxury tax, which again, all it does is make that divide even greater between the top and the bottom. And in my opinion, they're ruining the great sport of baseball. Baseball is amazing. I love the sport. It's beautiful. I love playoff baseball. It's incredible. But I hate the league. It's a beautiful sport with a horrible league, and if there is any way to get Major League Baseball out of baseball and just watch baseball without their nonsense, I would be so happy for that. That's not going to happen anytime soon, but the more I learn, the more I educate myself on what's going on in Major League Baseball, the more I listen to you guys giving me feedback, I just get increasingly turned off from the sport. And it's unfortunate, but I'm like, I'm not dealing with all that nonsense. I 6 years of service time before you can become a free agent is ridiculous. And I learned a lot. I listened to your feedback, and all it really did was infuriate me even further. Like, baseball fans, who supports this? Like, I don't understand. I genuine question. Like, I get it if you love the sport, and I understand wanting to watch the sport played at the highest level by the best people. Like, I would have a hard time watching college baseball or high school baseball because I'm like, I know there's a better level out there. Although, like, look, the Little League World Series, when it's on, I watch it. It's fun. I watch the Little League World Series way more than I watch Major League Baseball, which is sad and a weird coincidence, I guess. I don't know. But I want it. Major League Baseball fans, like, does anyone feel good about the stuff I just talked about? Arbitration, 6 years of service, the luxury tax. It's all nonsense, and it drives me bonkers. And I want to hear your feedback a little more. I probably won't cover it even further, but I just... It's so frustrating to learn more about a league that is, in my opinion, ruining a really great sport, the sport of baseball.